Hey, what's going on, guys? Today's video is about, at least in my opinion, the greatest prototypes ever, at least made, but that never went into official production. The first one we have on this list is the 13-foot Halloween inflatable scary tree. It's actually a light sync model, and light sync is honestly, I think, underused. I think Jimmy should add more light sync models because they're really, really cool. I unfortunately don't own any, but I know I would love to. With this, I mean, it's 13 feet tall, so it's definitely going to make a statement in your yard. You can see a nice little jack-o'-lantern on there, and even a werewolf, which looks really, really cool. A ghost that's like popping out, and then an owl. I don't really understand why Jimmy didn't go ahead and move on with this inflatable. Yeah, I don't really understand, because this inflatable is really, really cool. I mean, it looks great, but Jimmy just decided to not release it, so. Alright, so this one I kind of understand why Jimmy didn't release it, but nevertheless, I would love to have this guy. He's so cool. This is the 16-foot Colossal Jack Skellington Nightmare Before Christmas inflatable. So, this is a prototype. I kind of understand why it didn't go into official production, mainly because it's a licensed 16-foot inflatable, which means it would have to go for, at least, I'm thinking, the Mickey went for $250. The caroling Mickey went for $250 from 2018, so that was 14.5 feet tall. So this one probably would go for around $250 to even maybe $280. I don't know if we would see $300, but yeah, paying $300 for this inflatable would definitely sting. Nevertheless, it is a wonderful inflatable. I would love to have it, mainly because in the movie, Jack Skellington is so tall, and I want to have a really, really big Jack Skellington inflatable in my yard. The 10-foot one is really, really cool. That's basically the closest inflatable I could get to having that goal, I guess. But yeah, 16-foot would definitely be better. And also, I feel like this would be a pretty good 2019 quote-unquote Reaper. It wouldn't be a Reaper, but in 2016 we got that 16-foot black and like dark purple like esque Reaper. In 2017 we got another Reaper that looked just like it. I kind of call them the New Orleans Reapers because of that like hat and stuff. I don't know why, it just kind of reminds me of New Orleans. But and then we got in 2018 the 16-foot like gothic Reaper with those like big claw hands, the red hands that look absolutely wonderful. And then in 2019 we did not get a 16-foot Reaper from Lowe's, and I feel like this kind of should have taken its place, but you know what, you gotta move on. So the next inflatable we have, speaking of moving on, is the 12-foot Monster Boy or whatever. So this inflatable did kind of get released, but it didn't, because there was a 9-foot version of this with a cheap fan, and you can actually look right here, that black cord, and that means that this one has a cheap fan too. Wow, okay, Jimmy did not learn their lesson. So yeah, there was a 9-foot dumbed down version of this. This one looks way better, like way better. The dumbed down version had about 4 colors on it. I mean, this one like basically does 2, but like the dumbed down version was nowhere near as good as this one. The version that got released, so I need to stop saying dumbed down, was 9 feet tall. This one's 12 feet tall. They both have cheap fans, but they are like the big cheap fans. Nevertheless, it's a cheap fan, and we don't want that, so yeah, that's really disappointing. But this inflatable is really, really cool. It's a shame that it didn't get released with a base fan, but yeah, really, really cool. Alright, so this is the Headless Horseman wonderful inflatable. Now, this one right here needs to be released. Like, they should not change anything about it. This inflatable right here, it needs to be released. Jimmy, if you're watching this, which you're not, but if you were, please release this inflatable, because it is absolutely amazing. I can't see like any flaws with it. That tombstone does look like a little side thing, but it doesn't ruin it for me. It still looks amazing. The axe looks wonderful. You can even see all that green mixed media material right there, and where its neck is, and below where its head would be. You can see his head, the jack-o'-lantern right there. Just looks wonderful. I actually really, really like this like fuchsia pink. Normally I would think I would hate it, but it looks really, really good, and they even have like a little skeleton where his collar would be. So overall, a wonderful inflatable, and it also even has a cape, so that looks really, really cool. And a base fan. You can see that like right there. If Explore would go away. Alright, so this is the Trojan Horse Halloween inflatable, and I have no idea why Jimmy did not release this guy, because the Trojan Horse is such an icon in history, just world history. It's like amazing what happened with that and the thought process that it went into the actual structure, the actual entity. But yeah, with the inflatable version, this thing does not miss a beat whatsoever. It is absolutely incredible. You can see the base fan down there. I really like what Jimmy did with it. The thought process and the designing just overall looks amazing. It looks so good. You can even see the eyes. That looks great. If you don't know the story of the Trojan Horse, I know like bits and pieces of it. I know that there were people hiding inside and it was a trick to like attack a bunch of other people, but I think those little eyes right there are kind of a subtle gesture to the actual events. Maybe Jimmy didn't want to do this because it's an actual piece of history. I don't really understand why they went away with this, but overall, like this inflatable is amazing, and it's going for like over 300 on eBay. I can't afford that, but yeah, I really want to get this guy. Alright, so sorry for the pixelated image. I know that looks really bad, but this is the, I think it's a church. It looks like a church, but it's like a Christmas church or whatever. It's actually kind of modeled after the 2017 haunted house. You can see how it has like that pillar on the side, and then it's got that like thin like sheet or whatever of inflatable right there. And it's also got where the clock tower would be, it's a chimney with Santa peeking out, and then you've got a little Christmas tree and then a little snowman. It looks great, but yeah, I would love to see this inflatable go into official production and get my hands on it, but still it's a prototype and Jimmy didn't want to go forth with the process. So this one is the 16-foot alternate version of the 2014 15-foot Colossal best inflatable Jimmy's ever made sleigh. Now, this did get released well, not technically. It did get released, but like they touched it up, they fixed Santa's beard, they actually shortened it, I think, a foot. I don't really understand like 15 foot and 16 foot, what's the difference, but Jimmy must have something in mind. Also, apologies for the pixelated image, but you can definitely see kind of what I'm talking about. This inflatable is absolutely enormous. It's massive, and in my opinion, one of the greatest inflatables ever made. You can see here, this is the version that was actually released. You can see Santa's beard was a little bit different from this image. With this image, it's a little more like curly around and more wide. With this image, it's more like down here, and then this one's, I think, a foot shorter, so yeah. Alright, so this is the Gingerbread House, and there was a 2013 Gingerbread House that was released, and I have that inflatable, and it's absolutely incredible. This one is also really, really cool. This one is a smaller version, but I would still love to have it. You can see the base fan right there. The gingerbread, which looks just like the one from the 2013 version, and you can see Santa right there. This one does not have any animated features. Maybe that's why Jimmy decided not to officially release it, but yeah, really cool. This one is the airplane flying with like that clear material. I love when Jimmy does this. I know I had a 12-foot ghost that it ripped, so I have my complaints with it definitely. But when they do it and they do it right, it looks really, really good, especially with this one. This one is an animated inflatable with the propeller right there in the front. It looks absolutely incredible, and I really like that Santa. Normally I wouldn't like that baby version Santa, but it looks really, really cool. Alright, so is it last? No, not last. Okay, so I thought it was the last inflatable. I saved, I think, maybe the best for last, but this inflatable right here is maybe the reason why they didn't choose it was because it says Air Force on the side. I don't know. They've done things like that before in the past, so I don't understand why they didn't go ahead with this inflatable. This inflatable looks really, really badass with that gray scheme like an Air Force and then Santa right there. They've released many planes in the past. They have not released this one, and I wish they would. Hopefully in the future they'll release something like this one, but as of right now, there is not one. So yeah, really, really cool North Pole Air Force inflatable. Yeah, like it a lot. Alright, so the last one is the 21-foot inflatable Frosty. Now, they did release this inflatable as an 18-foot version. This one right here is a 21-foot version. This guy couldn't even fit it in his, like, massive barn. Like, this thing, like, that's not small at all. But that Frosty makes it look tiny. That Frosty is absolutely ginormous. It's huge. You can even see the kaleidoscope like right there. I don't know if you can see it perfectly, but you can definitely see it's right in there. It's overall a wonderful inflatable, 21 feet tall, which would make it, I know, at least one of the biggest inflatables ever made, at least in terms of height. Jimmy inflatable. But yeah, really, really cool. I hope you guys enjoyed my little like tier list or of whatever prototype inflatables that never got released that at least should have got released. But yeah, if you did, please leave a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out. Stay safe.